Hi, I'm Bart Hanson. I'm the owner of CrushLivePoker.com. The following hand comes from our call-in show that we record at 4:45 p.m. Pacific Time every Monday. If you like the channel, please subscribe and hit that like button. And if you want to submit to be on the show, take a look at the information in the description.
Yeah, so I was playing at my club, Shuffle 512. I've got the stack sizes for all the villains in the hand in my stack size.
Okay.
So we're playing just 1-2. The stacks are a little deeper. We've been playing for a while.
Yep.
So once the stacks get above like 400 effective, it plays more like a 2-5 game because people just open to 15.
Right.
And in a lot of your content, you've talked about like what matters more is like the effective stacks at low stakes.
Well, the
for,
open
like,
size. The open size.
Yeah, with
matters
your open
more.
sizes.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
So
yeah.
so like as soon as the stacks got above 500 effective, I just started opening to 15 instead of like 10, and I'm just treating it like a 2-5 game.
Yeah.
So we got under the gun open to 15. This guy has 800 in front of him.
Okay.
He's like a loose splashy guy.
Okay.
There's a low jack call, and this player, he's a typical middle-aged white guy, recreational player. He's got about 280, like a starting stack.
Yep.
It's a cap table, so it's like 300 cap. Hijack is a clueless fish that has about 700 in front of him. He calls. And then I'm on the button with 10-7 suited spades, and I've got about a 730 in my stack.
730.
And here, this is the first decision point. I'm deciding whether I want to 3-bet or call this hand on the button.
Well, I mean, do you want to play like David Chan? I don't know if anybody remembers David Chan from Crush Live Poker. I mean, the old school. I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's still theoretically like you've got like this big time overlay, right? Like you've got overlay in the pot of a bunch of money, right? Now, and that's why you're sort of like incentivized to 3-bet, but with that being said, you're supposed to 3-bet your better hands. I mean, this is the great debate here, right? Like, even, first of all, 10-7 suited. Now, listen, I would probably play if the competition is very weak. I don't think you're giving up too much by overcalling here on the button. I mean, we can debate this. I'm sure some guys in the live chat will think that this is blasphemy. But like, say for example,
Rob, I posted this hand in NL Strat, and Rob just instantly. I asked him about pre-flop, and he was like, "Obviously, this is horrible."
I mean, but look at a more reasonable hand like 10-8 suited. Okay, so you can just stop the debate about folding. The idea, though, is that you would not 3-bet 10-8 suited. That would be the bottom part of your playable range, and you would call, and you would 3-bet like your better hands, right? You're not 3-betting. Again, go down this route of like your offsuit hands, unless you're very, very shallow. You want to 3-bet your better suited hands. That's the whole thing with linearly. So, yeah, I mean, I don't think you want to 3-bet your absolute worst playable hands here. This is going to be a call or a fold. Yes, we can debate the merits of folding, sure, but I don't think you're giving up a ton by calling. Is that what you did?
I just ended up calling, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I definitely thought about playing the hand as a 3-bet and how it could have played out as a 3-bet as well. Definitely a lot of disagreement there, but
I mean, the thing is that
people, I've asked a lot of people, and
like if you're gonna
like 3-bet fold call.
If you're gonna 3-bet a hand, then do it with like 10-9 suited, or do it with 5-6 suited. Do it with a direct suited connector that flops some sort of equity. Because with 10-7, I mean, we talked about how direct suited connectors actually flop so much better than 1-gappers. But now with a 2-gapper, I mean, you can fool around with Flopzilla and stuff, but like with a 2-gapper, it's just, you're not going to flop much. You want to have something. You know what I mean? So that's why I 3-betting with garbage doesn't make like a whole lot of sense, which is why people don't 3-bet anymore. They realize with like King 4 suited, stuff like that, like blocker plays, unless you're really, really short. When people are defending more and more correctly.
In these live low stakes games, people don't fold the 3-bet.
Well, then that's even more
like,
playability.
What's the sense in 3-betting?
Yeah, then playability is even more important. So you call, okay.
Yeah, so we go 4 ways, 16 in the pot.
Yeah.
The flop is 7 of hearts, 6 of spades, 5 of spades.
7 of hearts, 6 of spades, 5 of spades. All right, so you flop top pair and a flush draw, right, with 10-7 of spades? Okay.
Maybe we flop a big hand.
Yeah.
It's a big board, or really good flop for a hand, yeah.
Yep.
The under the gun guy leads or C bets for 50.
So UTG, the preflop
And
raiser, bets 50, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And then it goes call, call, and back on me on the button.
So low jack calls, the hijack calls, and now it's on you. Well, here, so this is sort of the concept of pre-flop kind of like move to the flop. So you can take this sort of overlay concept and actually put it into any street. Now there's a lot of dead money out there, and you have a really good hand, right? In terms of what this board is. So, even if the guy had like kings or queens here, like without a spade, right? Like you have basically a 14 out draw, right? 13 or 14 outs, depending on what they have, which is basically a flip against like a red overpair, right? There's a bunch of dead money out there, right? It goes 50, call, call, right? There's a bunch of dead money out there. And also, too, if you just overcall, there are some turns that will almost cause you to have to fold, like one-liner to straight types of turns where your hand just turns into a naked kind of, just like a naked 10 high flush draw. Also, you have the added ability of sometimes raising out a higher flush draw. Probably not from under the gun, but, well, possibly from under the gun. But you can sometimes raise out a higher flush draw. What you don't want to have happen here in a spot like this is you don't want to get in a multi-way spot where you're up against a better made hand and a better draw. Like if someone's got aces here and someone's got like king, queen of spades, you have very, very little equity, right? So I look at this as almost a slam dunk raise. For all those reasons. You've got a huge overlay in the pot, right? 50 call, call. The pot's 210. Your equity against like one pair types of hands from under the gun, unless the guy's totally clueless, you really shouldn't be c-betting here with air. Your equity is going to be 50%. And even if he has two overs in the nut flush draw, your equity is 50%. Like you've got the best of all worlds where you're ahead of an unpaired nut flush draw. You can fold out the hands that are in between that have just called that can kind of kill your equity in the forms of like straight draws and things like that. And there's a huge overlay. There's a huge overlay in the pot. Like there's a bunch of dead money in the pot. And as long as you can get it heads up here and someone hasn't flopped like 8-9, you're going to have 40, 50% equity. So I look at this as actually, I'd be raising here a ton. If I was going to play 10-7 suited pre-flop as a call, which I think is fine now, when you move that concept over to the flop, I think I raise here just and play for stacks against, play for stacks against under the gun. The only thing that
you're using like this overlay concept to kind of make a lot of your decisions throughout the course of the hand.
Well, it's overlaying clean up like your ability to realize. You're basically like, it's like equity realization sort of cleanup, right? Like you don't want these other hands in there. And you're going to almost always have 40, 50% equity against somebody heads up. The only thing that could get, the only situation where you get really hairy is like if you raise to an amount like 250 under the gun, either calls or puts it in, and then like the guy who is the hijack now puts it in as well. Like you don't want to see two all-ins in front of you. But based upon what I've seen here from this action, it went under the gun, bet on the flop, low jack called, and now hijack overcalled, which wouldn't suggest to me that the hijack has that great of a hand. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you don't want to have under the gun go all in and hijack call all in front. Now that gets real dicey because then you're in a spot where you might be up against like a better draw and a made hand, and then your equity is very, very small. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, and also I can have all the pairs here, so I should be. If I'm going to have a raising range of like sets, like the 10-7 suited can go in the raising range with the sets that I would raise. Well, this is like the most important part of the hand is my action here on the flop. And I just called because I thought about the hands that just wouldn't fold like those higher flush draws, those unpaired flush draws. And
but you're ahead of those. But if you can get heads up.
I know. I'm ahead. I'm ahead, but I wanted to call and basically play turns, but that's just like.
But what are the good turn cards for you though? Like, what are the good turn cards for you? Like here in a four-way pot. I mean, you can debate whether or not even a spade. I I mean, obviously a spade makes it a flush, right?
Yeah,
But I
spades
mean,
are not necessarily good turns. Yeah,
but like what else? What is a
they're
good
pretty
turn card
bad.
for you? A 7 or a 10? That's why this particular hand. Listen, I've talked about how people overplay top pair and a flush draw, but I'm just saying that this is a spot where I actually think raising to try to get it more short-handed with the overlay in the pot and get it heads up against some hand is actually going to be the superior play than just calling, because you're going to sometimes get bet off your equity here on the turn. You're not going to necessarily
Yep.
know what the best
Yeah,
play
there's just
is
a bunch
here.
of bad turns. It's like very hard to play them. I am in position, so that's like the only positive about the situation. So I ended up just calling. I really should have raised. That was definitely the most important part of the hand.
Yeah, so the pot's
Um,
260, right? Something like
yeah,
that.
the pot's now 260,
Yep.
and the turn is an offsuit 5.
Okay. I'm gonna put it as the 5 of clubs. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, it wasn't a heart, so it wasn't like a two. It wasn't two flush draws
So seven
on
of
the turn.
hearts, 7 of hearts, 6 of spades, 5 of spades turns the 5 of clubs. You have 10 7 of spades.
Yep,
Okay.
and then it checks to me. All three players check.
Wow, that's interesting, because what does the under the gun guy have? You mean I would?
I think he's just giving up here. I mean, I play with a lot of these players pretty often, and
Is
when
the
they
under
all
the gun?
check,
Is the under the gun guy like c betting like ace jack of hearts on the flop, like into like 3 people? I mean, are they that
I
clueless?
yeah, he's pretty clueless. He will just see bet air. He'll see bet overcards, like, and then he's just giving up on because you got like 3 callers.
I mean, that's even more of a reason why I raised the flop here. And you can get it in with the idiot, the one of the fishy. I don't know if you said the low jack was fishy, but like it's just. And by the way, too, I mean, I think you have a lot of fold equity. I don't know how clueless these players are, but if you put yourself in the under the gun spot, right? Let's say that you c bet this flop with like 2 red queens on 7
Hmm.
6 5, and you bet 50 and it goes call call, and the button makes it like 275. Are you continuing here? You know what I mean? Like it's like, I mean, maybe you are because the guys are clueless, but it puts them in a very tough spot on this board.
Yeah,
With two,
I think from their perspective, if they had a hand as strong as like aces, kings, or queens, he would like check call one more bet because I'm like the most aggressive player at the table, and
Mhm.
that's like all he's basing a decision off of. But yeah, so checks to me, and I just bet. I bet 200, and this is like one of those value bet bluff bets
Yeah, I don't know about this
where I'm
side.
just trying to deny equity.
If you want to make an equity,
From
if you want to make an equity denial bet here, I think that if you're going to bet this turn, I think a small bet is in order here, like something like 75 to not give free cards to like
really
straight
that
draws.
small.
Yeah, because like what are you trying to bet 200 here for? The under the gun guy, if he's betting an overpair, he's not checking the turn, right? Like if the under the gun guy's betting like aces, kings, queens on a 7 6 5 2 spade board, right? And now the turn's a 5.
Hmm.
Is he checking now? Remember, the 7 is not the spade, so it's not like someone can have 5x of spades. I mean, that's just my gut that an overpair continues to bet this turn. I mean, unless he gets scared because like 3 people called and he thinks somebody's slow playing
Yeah,
something.
no,
But
100%. Like the low jack or the hijack player can have like a 5. The the recreational player in the low jack could have. They could all have pieces of this board, and he's going to be scared of the board pairing with his overpair for sure. But yes, and he's out of position. He has to just check, and so then when it checks to me, I know I'm in a pretty safe spot now.
you're in a safe spot. So you think that he's checking to check fold and overpair now? Because you just said when I said raise the flop, was he going to continue? You said he was going to check call at least one more time. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it doesn't like if he's checking an overpair, I don't think he's going to fold to you betting on the button here. So if you want to make an equity protection sort of bet here, the only hands that I mean you actually have the best 7 here quite a bit, unless someone has ace 7 or someone had like pocket 8s or pocket 9s, but you also have spades to back it up to you could possibly improve. I just think that this is probably
Right.
I can get on board with betting here.
I think by betting large, I deny equity from the bigger flush draws, and I do just blow other hands out of the pot, like the hands that are beating me, some overpairs, some higher top pairs, like A7 or something.
I mean, maybe. I don't know. I don't think you're going to get a whole lot better than your hand to fold here.
Okay.
well, that much. That's why I just think that for an equity protection bet, your hand's sort of two in between. I do probably like a bet here. Plus, you're backing it up with spades so that you're building a bigger pot sometimes to actually win a bigger pot if you improve, and just like equity denial. But I would probably tend to bet like 75 or 100. Okay, so you bet 200.
Yeah, I bet 200, and under the gun guy folds quickly. The low jack guy thinks about it for a while and folds, and then the hijack player folds. The low jack player, the recreational guy, he says that he folded flush draw plus a gutter.
So everybody folds to your 200.
Yeah, everybody folds, and the low jack player like says what he folded, and he's pretty.
The low jack
honest
player
guy,
who was
so.
small, who had small, he said he folded a flush draw on a gutter, which would have been what, like queen jack nine of spades or something like that, right? I mean, a flush draw on a gutter is 9x of spades, right?
Yeah.
Because a 4 and an 8 are open ended, right? Unless he's got like king 3 of spades or some shit like that.
Yeah, he definitely said gutter, so.
But I mean, do you think
not like an open-ended?
But do you see what I'm talking about here? Do you think that you got a better hand to fold from anyone?
Yeah, I don't really know. Maybe the under the gun guy folded a smaller overpair, like probably not nines, but like jacks.
I mean, boy, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing the level of play in Texas. But like, how do I give you? How do I give you as the if I'm going to c bet an overpair on 7-6-5, right? And then I'm sort of get scared, and the turn's a 5, and I check. How do I give you a 5, or how do I give you even like a really strong hand when you bet the turn? Like, you're the one that's probably incentivized the most to raise on the flop when it goes bet, call, call. So it's like, okay, maybe you've got the mega nuts here, like with 8-9 of spades, but you're still overcalling two people, and how do you have a 5? So I'm never folding like an overpair there to a button bet of 200 here. Do you see what I'm saying? If I'm under the gun,
Right. But if I'm betting that much on the turn, like I could just shove the river, and it's like a.
But what do you
Well, actually,
what do you have though? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what do you have that overcalls the flop that goes bet like turn river? Like, are you playing like bottom two like slow for a safeguard and you fill up? I mean, I guess it's possible, but I mean that's just part of a range. There's a lot of draws out there too. So
when Rob was looking at his hand, he asked me what I do with my sets right away on the flop, and I said, well, yeah, I would probably raise top set and middle set and probably call bottom set, and then here on the turn I have no boats. I have quad fives, and that's it. So.
I'm just saying that like if somebody
problem.
if somebody's from under the gun like bets the flop with an overpair and then checks the turn, I just think they're continuing here. I mean, it would be one thing if I was under the gun and I bet and got a lot of callers on the flop with like kings, right? And now on the turn's a 5. I check, and now the guy who's to my immediate left, right, bets on a 5. That's way stronger than I feel like the button betting, right? Because the guy to my immediate left, if you look at positional awareness, he certainly could be slow playing the flop. He doesn't know that all these people are going to call behind, but you're on the button and you already see it go bet, call, call on the flop.
Yeah.
So that's why like you're less apt to have a stronger hand, I feel like, than if I would be more scared of someone directly to my left as under the gun if I checked an overpair here on the turn. But anyways, thanks for the call. I appreciate it. Hey guys, if you like what you've seen here, please click on the subscribe button and you'll get notified every time we put up a new video. And if you want to check out crushlivepoker.com for the first month free, use the code YTA200. Click on the link right there.